Okay, and now we're recording. So again, welcome. Expanding QuickBooks Online. You will all receive a copy of this recording after the webinar today within about 48 hours. So let's scoot up here and look at what we're going to talk about today. So our agenda today is to talk about the increasing adoptions of apps and add-ons and integrations, or whatever sort of verbiage you like to call it. We're going to discuss Intuit's add-on apps, QuickBooks Payroll and QuickBooks Payments. We're also going to explore apps.com for apps created by third parties that sync into your QuickBooks Online company. We're going to spotlight some of the most popular apps in the App Center. We're also going to talk about the small business life cycle and point out some of the special offers that we have for pro advisors. We have 4 things that we want you to be able to take away from today's course, and that is understanding how small businesses improve efficiency with integrated apps, looking at Intuit's payroll and payment add-ons for QuickBooks Online and being able to identify those features. We're also going to list third-party apps that integrate with QuickBooks Online and look at how to connect an app to a QuickBooks Online account. Small to medium-sized businesses are using lots and lots of apps to manage their business. When the apps do not integrate with each other, it can cause a lot of problems. Some of those problems are businesses having to enter their data in more than one place, which is inefficient. It's a waste of time if you're entering the same data in 2 systems or in parallel systems, in some cases more than 2 systems. There really probably are a lot more interesting things that you can be doing with your time to make better use of it. The likelihood of errors is drastically increased as you're entering data multiple times manually in many different systems. The customer's information is scattered across multiple applications with no ability to see a consolidated view of the customer's profiles. So I'm sure many of us have probably dealt with the customer that comes in with piles from multiple places. You can see here in this business life cycle, some of the apps that they're looking at are PayPal and eBay, QuickBooks, email, Salesforce, Excel. So you have a client using all of these different apps that they haven't necessarily strung together as a way to manage their business or multi-channel sales or whatever goal it is that they are trying to achieve. Now, Intuit's research shows that app usage is increasing every year. We're getting new apps every year, and it's really easy to try a new app. So one of the things that we encounter every once in a while is the client is afraid of the app, or maybe we as accounting professionals and pro advisors are afraid of the app and afraid to try new things. Well, testing an app is very easy. Many apps have demo accounts that you can look at. They will do demos with you. I know sometimes we see it as being painful when people are trying to call us and do demos and sell us apps, but if you know what you're looking for and you know the questions that you need to have answers to, going through an app demo can be very painless. You just need to know, what does it do, what problem does it solve, what's the target demographic. App stores are fun. It's fun to go through and click and look at all the apps and compare them to each other and look at all of the different things that they have now for different problems. There's many solutions. For any one problem you have, there's a variety of solutions. And so it's a lot of fun to go into the App Center and look at all of those things and read reviews and see what they have to offer. Apps often solve a particular pain point and can really help a business. So it's wonderful, except for when you have a million different apps that are all separate from each other. So there's good appaholics and bad appaholics. Some of us get really excited and we have all of our apps lined up in a row, but really we should have all of our apps strung together. Now we're going to look at the QuickBooks Online ecosystem and the connected apps that can help many businesses while also sharing one data source. Intuit offers 2 apps that you can add on to your QuickBooks Online subscription, and that's QuickBooks Online Payroll and QuickBooks Payments, which is like IPN in desktop, the Intuit Payment Network. And the App Center provides more apps built by third-party developers to help you run your business. So you can see here, QuickBooks Online is the hub, and then you have the apps that all circle around. So we have the QuickBooks Online apps, Payroll and Payments, right there at the top in that yellow bubble. And then we have all of the other apps that integrate really closely. I shouldn't say all. There's many petals to this flower, as you may say, to really grow your QuickBooks Online ecosystem. But the ones that we have here in this image are the ones that we're going to touch on today. So we're going to start with Intuit's two apps, Payroll and then Payments. QuickBooks Online Payroll is a web-based payroll service which is accessed from within QuickBooks Online. So unlike Intuit Online Payroll, QuickBooks Online Payroll is actually accessed from within the QuickBooks Online platform. It's not a separate system that you access. You may see suggestions to add this app from the left navigation bar inside QuickBooks Online or from the home page's activity feed. You can just navigate right over to the employee's dashboard and click Turn on Payroll right there from the left side navigation bar. The service gives you unlimited payroll runs. You can pay employees by direct deposit or print checks or a combination of the two. Your employees can log into an online portal to view their pay stubs and pay history, and you can even have unlimited time tracking users, so your employees can enter their time through the time tracking portal into QuickBooks Online, and then you can approve it and run payroll from that. Your tax payments are calculated automatically and paid electronically. You can process federal and state quarterly and annual filings. It's so easy to process. They're already filled out. You just push the button to submit it. The QuickBooks Online Payroll system also includes your annual forms like W-2s. The payroll rates are always up to date, so you never have to install payroll updates, and you can process payroll for employees in multiple states. The service also has a mobile app in case you're processing your payroll on the go. The mobile app lets you pay employees, view past paychecks, e-file and e-pay taxes, and e-file forms. So very convenient. You can run it from your iPad or from a laptop or wherever you're at. Let me click back a little bit here. Got a little excited there. You pay your employees in 3 simple steps. First, you just add your employees' hours or wages, and then you review your payroll and push submit. You can have more than one pay schedule in here as well, and you can also have more than one pay type like hourly, commission, bonuses, etc. If you have a QuickBooks Online Plus subscription, it comes with the unlimited time tracking users that we talked about, so that's available in QuickBooks Online Plus, and you can invite staff to enter their hours online. The sum of the hours that you enter for a pay period by staff on their QBO timesheets flow directly into payroll, so super convenient there. You can just make modifications in payroll and then process it. Now we're going to look at some of the ways that QuickBooks Online Payroll is deeply integrated within QuickBooks Online. So you can see here we're looking at the Manage Payroll reports from the Report Center in QuickBooks Online. So the process is you pay employees from the employee dashboard. When you submit the payroll, the employee dashboard graph is updated with the information submitted to show your payroll cost for the year. Your paychecks and tax payments show on the home page's activity feed as recent transactions and can also be found in the bank register as checks. Reminders to submit your payroll tax payments and forms will show on QuickBooks Online's homepage in the activity feed and will be emailed to you. You can pay taxes and file forms from the tax center. They're calculated for you and you just click Submit. You can modify your payroll settings from the QuickBooks Online Tools menu, and your payroll reports are found here in this report menu. So you can see many of the payroll reports that are found here that you can just run directly from within QuickBooks Online. So there's no third-party payroll integration that has to happen. You don't have to manually enter journal entries or checks. You just get all of your payroll reporting right here from your QuickBooks Online window. So now that we've talked about the QuickBooks Online payroll features, which are deeply integrated with QuickBooks Online, there are 2 other online payroll solutions offered by Intuit that also integrate with QuickBooks Online, and that's Intuit Online Payroll for Accountants and Intuit Full Service Payroll. So Intuit Online Payroll for Accountants has most of the same functionality that we just saw in QuickBooks Online Payroll, except that it is accessed from a separate website outside of your QuickBooks Online account. This allows the accountant to build a profitable payroll practice supporting multiple payroll accounts with central access and a central to-do list for all of their payroll clients. Intuit Online Payroll for Accountants offers an accountant wholesale pricing program with unlimited EINs supported and marketing resources to grow your payroll business. Intuit Online Payroll for Accountants has a client access feature that allows you to give one of 3 levels of online access to your clients for your firm-branded payroll site at managepayroll.com. Intuit Online Payroll for Accountants does not require QuickBooks, but it does export easily to QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop for PC and Mac, along with other accounting software. The QuickBooks Online timesheets do not transfer into Intuit Online Payroll for Accountants. So if you're using time tracking in QuickBooks Online, that time data does not sync directly over to Intuit Online Payroll for Accountants. However, it does have its own online time clock and online timesheets so that you can give your clients' employees access to enter their own time. So it's similar to the way that it works in QuickBooks Online Plus. It's just a different portal that they log into to track the time that way. The feature includes supervisor approval for internal controls and applies payroll laws and regulations to determine overtime and double time. The mobile app also works with Intuit Online Payroll for Accountants. So we're also going to look at Intuit Full Service Payroll. And with Intuit Full Service Payroll, you get Intuit's trained payroll experts to process all of your paychecks and payroll taxes. Intuit sets up your payroll for you. So you select the employees you want to pay and enter their hours if they're hourly. The total pay and hours are instantly calculated. Intuit notifies you on screen if you enter hours significantly different from your last pay period to help prevent mistakes. And then Intuit does the rest. They process your payroll, they notify you about upcoming tax payments, filings, and they pay your taxes. The employer keeps the money to pay to tax agencies until the payment is actually due, so they're not impounding right away. Intuit creates and distributes your W-2 forms at the end of the year. Intuit guarantees no tax penalties. Paychecks and payroll taxes are sent to QuickBooks Online with one click. So it does send all of that information over to QuickBooks Online for you. And the Intuit Full Service Payroll also exports data to QuickBooks Desktop for PC and QuickBooks Desktop for Mac. So I'm just going to pause for a moment here and look at the questions. It looks like we have one that came in. How do you make employees active or inactive? So inactivating employees from QuickBooks Online Payroll, you would go to the Employee Center in QuickBooks Online and inactivate the employee. And then in Intuit Online Payroll for Accountants, it's a similar situation. You go into your employee list and inactivate them. And then for Intuit Full Service Payroll, it's basically the same action in every system. They all have the web-based platforms, and you would open the employee details up and inactivate them. The navigation would just be a little bit different for each platform depending on which one you were using. So if anyone has stepped away for a moment to get coffee or is checking email or doing something else, if you could all just bring it back in for a moment and let's look at our CPE keyword for the day to note down. Our CPE keyword today is ball, B-A-L-L. We have football, soccer ball, tennis ball, all kinds of balls sitting there. So if you just note this keyword, and then if anyone has any questions that they are looking to ask, if you just want to put those in the questions box, and we will get to them when we get to good pausing points. We'll look at those and get those answered for you. So everyone just take a moment to note the CPE keyword, which is ball, B-A-L-L, and we will ask for this keyword at the end of the webinar. Okay, so now let's dive into QuickBooks Payments. The second add-on app for QuickBooks Online offered by Intuit is called QuickBooks Payments, and this is for processing customer payments. If you are familiar with IPN and Desktop, this is a similar setup, but now it's called QuickBooks Payments. Much easier to say, and there's no acronym, so people actually know what you're talking about when you say QuickBooks Payments, which is great. You may see suggestions to add this app from the left navigation bar inside QBO, QuickBooks Online, or from the homepage's Activities feed when you send an invoice. You can go into the Tools menu to Company Settings to set up QuickBooks Payments, It is one of the links on the left side of the company settings page. So if you go into the Tools menu, which is the gear icon, so this image that you're seeing here is the classic navigation. You may have classic navigation, you may have Harmony navigation, depending on how new your QuickBooks Online file is. So I'm just going to take a moment, actually, because most people have the Harmony navigation now. So let's just take a moment to show you what that looks like in Harmony. So I'm just going to drag this sample company over here really quick and open this up. And hopefully this has Harmony navigation in the sample file. So you can go in here, the gear icon. Get some of these ones out of the way. You go in Company Settings. And this is what Harmony settings looks like. So in here you navigate through your settings here, or you can just scroll down and just scroll through all of them, and this is where you can turn on your QuickBooks Payments. So you can see there's lots of different settings in here for everything. It just looks a little bit different than the classic platform. All right, so now we know what both of those screens look like. Let's go back in here. So that's the Tools menu, which is the gear icon, and then Company Settings. So it may look like this screenshot. It may look like the screen that we just looked at. So the add-on service was previously known as QuickBooks Merchant Services, or Intuit Payment Solutions, or Intuit Payment Network, and it's now only called QuickBooks Payments, or QB Payments for short. We may end up calling it QBP. QBP, it just depends on how much you like your acronyms there, but QuickBooks Payments is good enough for me. It does not only allow you to process credit card payments, but also allows you to draft ACH payments too. So those 50-cent e-check payments you can do here in QuickBooks Payments. That's my favorite thing to do with QuickBooks Payments. It also enables the payment screens inside of QuickBooks Online, just like the like the sales receipt and the receipt payment screens, to accept the credit card directly in QuickBooks Online. It is the only merchant service that can do this inside of QuickBooks Online, where you can just turn on the payment option directly from the invoice and process the credit card payment directly through QuickBooks Online. It enables the customers to click the Pay Now button from an online invoice and enter their credit card or bank information to submit the payment. When they do this, it automatically creates the receipt payment transaction in QuickBooks Online linked to the invoice. So you don't even have to receive the payment against the invoice. Once the customer pays through QuickBooks Payments, all of that is just done automatically for you. It empowers you to process payments through the QuickBooks mobile app on your iPhone or iPad. You can swipe the customer's credit card from within the QuickBooks app, and the payment posts directly to QuickBooks Online with no downloading required. You can use the free GoPayment Reader or key enter the transactions. The GoPayment service is slightly different. It's a slightly different mobile payment service offered by Intuit. They're similar in that you swipe the cards from mobile devices, but GoPayment does not actually post the payment in QuickBooks Online. You have to download it into QuickBooks Online. So QuickBooks Payments and Intuit GoPayment are two slightly different things, but they'll both get your payments in one way or another, depending on what process works best for you and your customers. QuickBooks Payments is the payment service behind QuickBooks Online's invoices, the QuickBooks Online invoices. Customers will click a link inside of any email they receive, and the invoice will open in a browser window. The online invoice is linked to the invoice inside of the QuickBooks Online account. It shows the current balance due on the invoice and has an interactive messaging section for customers and businesses to communicate about the invoice. So if your client sends their customer an invoice and that customer has a question about it, they can simply post a message like, hey, I thought we were getting a 25% discount, or did you include this, or whatever they have to say right there in the messaging. That will go back to your client or you if you're the one using it, and they can correspond with the customer that way. Then you see the Pay Now button in there, so the customer can just pay the invoice directly from the online invoice viewing screen. It's bright blue, and they just click and pay. The online invoice is entirely in guest view, which means that your customers or the client's customers do not have to have a username and password to log in. They just click the invoice from the email and it opens up for them. The credit card and bank information entered by the customer is not saved, so the customer will enter their bank info or credit card info each time that they pay an invoice. They can make full payments or partial payments. Once the payment is made from the online invoice, a payment confirmation screen shows to the customer. The customer also receives a payment confirmation email, and a received payment transaction is posted in QuickBooks Online and linked to the invoice. The customer's online invoice will show a status of paid and the date that the payment was received. So this payment window is updated constantly. So if the customer goes in and pays 50% of the payment and then goes back in to view the invoice online, it will show that 50% payment without you having to do anything to update the invoice or send out another link. So it looks like one of the questions we have on there, can they make a partial payment? Yes. The partial payment will be updated also as soon as it's made, and then they can go back in and just see the balance due to pay the remainder. When businesses use QuickBooks Online Payments or QuickBooks Payments, the funds move directly from the customer to the business's bank account. The funds are not impounded by any other party, so many merchant service processing, they will impound the funds, take a percent, give it back, whatever. So there is typically a 2-day window from the time the payment is submitted to the time that it is received in the merchant's bank account. And if all of the transactions in the batch were processed using QuickBooks Online's online invoicing or inside of QuickBooks Online with the sales receipt or receipt payment screen, or using the QuickBooks Mobile for iPad or iPhone, then when the funds are deposited into the business's bank account, the bank deposit and merchant service fees are automatically recorded in QBO by the QB Payments auto reconciliation feature. So let me just break that down a little bit. That was a very big concept to fit all into one sentence. So if all of your transactions are being processed in QuickBooks Online through online invoicing, or inside of QuickBooks Online by recording the payments as a sales receipt, or in the receive payment screen, you're entering the credit card information that way, or through the QuickBooks mobile app with the iPad or iPhone, then when all of the funds are deposited into the business's bank account, the bank deposit and merchant service fees will automatically be recorded by QuickBooks Online with the auto reconciliation feature. So the fees that are associated with these payments will be recorded automatically in QuickBooks. This means that all of your QuickBooks payments move magically from undeposited funds to your bank register, and they all use unique ID numbers to apply the payments to batches, eliminating guesswork and missing payments. So I'm just going to pause and look at the questions about payments here really quick. It looks like we have, do you need to be credit approved to use QuickBooks Payments as you do for IPN and merchant services? So there is an application, so that settings window that we looked at where you go to activate the payments, you put in your business information, you request what you would like your credit limit to be. I don't really like saying credit limit, your processing limit, so you have a monthly cap. So yes, you do get the business information in, and they will approve you for the credit card processing or the e-check processing, and that approval will be based on the information that you enter. So I have not seen any of my clients get denied for processing. I have seen people get lower limits than what they would have liked, but I'm sure that there are people with terrible credit that get denied. I just have never seen it happen. I've just seen lower limits. And then if you have a client who's growing and they get to the point where their cap is not high enough for their business growth, you can submit a request to have your cap increased, and they can increase your limit for processing. So if you have someone that starts out with a $5,000 limit and then all of a sudden they need to process $10,000, you can just reapply for that, and the underwriters will look it over for you. And let's see, next question. Should the deposits be deposited into the actual bank account in QuickBooks Online? So if I'm understanding that well, I'm not sure if I'm understanding that correctly. So I'm reading that as, no, I actually don't understand the question. So Teresa, if you can clarify that for me, should the deposits be deposited into the actual bank account in QuickBooks Online? So when you make a payment or when you receive a payment, the payments will be received into undeposited funds, and then when that deposit hits your bank account, when QuickBooks Payments makes that deposit into your bank account, it will match your undeposited funds for you. So it will apply the payment, and then your batch will automatically match and record your fees and your payments that go into your deposit. So if that did not answer your question, let me know. So let's see. I have a client that uses QuickBooks Payments, and in QuickBooks Online they are using a merchant account, bank account, not the actual bank account. Okay, so that's kind of a client process issue. So I have clients that use undeposited funds, I have clients that record straight to the bank, and I have clients that use a merchant account. So really that's going to be case by case, whether your client is accepting a few e-checks a week or a few credit card payments a week, or if they are receiving 20 credit card payments a day. That really just depends on what the best reconciliation process is for that client. So I would say case-by-case basis on that one, depending on what makes the most sense for streamlining the process but not sacrificing any integrity of your transfers. So hopefully that answered the question. Here we have another one. What other transactions can be included in the auto reconciliation feature? So the one that we're talking about here specifically is that QuickBooks Payments will auto-reconcile your payments in batch and the fees. So those are the two things that are included with the QuickBooks Payments auto-reconciliation. Okay, so I feel like, let's see, they're receiving a lot, so I would have thought depositing directly to the bank account makes sense. That's possible. So for me personally, when I have a lot of transactions, if I have many transactions every day, I like to use the clearing account because it's easier for me to reconcile the clearing account and only look at the credit card deposits as opposed to filtering through those deposits from the bank account. So really it just depends on what process works best for you and what's offering you the most efficiency. But thank you for that question, Teresa. That's great. That covers a lot of different bases there. And then one thing that I would like to mention as well is when you have QuickBooks Payments activated and you're sending those online invoices, it's just like in desktop with IPN where you have the option to activate the payment window. So you can choose to have the online payments on or off. You can choose to just have credit cards activated, and you can choose to enable the e-check. So that's an awesome feature. I love that feature, and hopefully you will too. All right, so now we're going to move forward and look at the App Center. So hopefully we've all visited the App Center before. It's one of my favorite places to go. So this includes the apps provided by the third-party developers. You can learn all about these other apps that integrate with QuickBooks Online by navigating to the Apps link on the left side menu or going to apps.com. That's like the simplest URL that you could possibly remember if you need an app, right? Go to apps.com and that will take you directly to the Intuit App Center. The third-party apps are mobile and web-based apps. They extend the functionality of QuickBooks Online and handle jobs like time and expense tracking, customer relations, billing. I mean, really, whatever your problem is, there's probably an app for that. You can draw info out of QuickBooks Online, like a customer list for an email campaign, or you can send updates into QuickBooks Online, like time entries or payments. So there's apps that have one-way syncs that pull data out to do more with it. There's apps that just push data into QuickBooks Online, and then there's apps that send data both directions. We're going to start by looking at Method CRM. Method CRM has a very tight two-way automated integration into QuickBooks Online. That means that you don't even have to click a sync button. It just is constantly pushing data back and forth. You can create web forms to collect leads from your website. You can create and sync invoices, payments, and estimates. You can even build self-service portals for customers and partners to view orders, place requests, and make payments. Method has a near zero setup time and the highest level of bidirectional synchronization possible. So Method consulting and training is on the rise. So I know that Method offers training for you to become a certified consultant. They have a million different uses that you can customize them for yourself or for your clients. It's really a great thing to kind of dive into, do a demo with them, look at how it could possibly work not only for your practice, but also in different ways for your clients. Okay, we're going to move into Bill.com. Bill.com is one of my favorite things. It is a great app for payables and receivables. You can pay vendors fast with e-payment, which is ACH, directly to their bank account. You can request your vendors to set up their information via ACH, or you can set it up for them if you already have their ACH information. You can also mail checks through Bill.com if they prefer, and you get the status and image of cleared paid bills, and they're updated automatically. So you get you can upload all of your documents, so you can see your bills, you can see the status of the payments, when the payments have cleared, etc. So here you can also invoice your clients. So they have an AP and an AR module. So the receivables module allows you to invoice your clients and collect via e-payment or automatic ACH bank draft. They have fixed fees that are billed to their clients automatically through Bill.com. Their paperless options are wonderful. So they have the bill management, the invoice management, and the document storage. So even if you're not paying all of your bills through Bill.com, you can still upload them all to Bill.com and mark them as paid outside of Bill.com. All of the transactions sync back to QuickBooks. So you can just get all of your bills entered into Bill.com, approved and paid in Bill.com, and all of that information just gets pushed back into QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online. And the QuickBooks Online Sync is a very, very beautiful thing. It is one of the most beautiful syncs that I have seen with QuickBooks Online. It just works wonderfully. And even if you're not using Bill.com for your receivables management, if you're using QuickBooks Payments and just managing that within QuickBooks Online, it still pulls that information into Bill.com. So you can do cash flow forecasting in Bill.com with a calendar that shows you when your bills are due and when your invoices should be coming in and all of that. There are awesome internal controls for separation of duties. You can assign permissions based on roles for approvers and payers and all of that. You can require approval. You can require approval by multiple people. Your customers and vendors can access the bills and the payment history online, and you can brand the portal. The vendors receive email notification of payment, and your customers just click to pay if you're using accounts receivable. So Bill.com is an integral part of our accounting workflow. I love it and would not want to run a business without it. It's great. I'm going to look at the questions really quick here. So we have a comment, QuickBooks Online is going to discontinue supporting Salesforce integration or vice versa. Do you know if this is true or otherwise have any recommendations on QB Salesforce integration? That is the first that I have heard of that. So I have not heard of QuickBooks ditching the Salesforce integration. So I guess I don't really have an answer there. It's hard for me to imagine that happening. But I guess my answer is I don't know. I haven't heard that, so hopefully that's not true. Now we're going to look at Transaction Pro Importer. So Transaction Pro Importer allows you to import lists or transactions into QuickBooks Online. It is great for importing transactions from any program that exports to spreadsheet format. So it's useful for importing web store or eBay and PayPal transactions, and it's very easy. The steps are very simple. Whoops. Scroll down here. So first you upload the file. So any text or Excel file you just upload to Transaction Pro Importer, and then you map the fields, so customer name to customer name, etc. You edit or make any changes, and you can just type right into the cells. Transaction Pro Importer validates your data before importing, so it makes sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. And then Transaction Pro imports the data and provides a log file so that you can see exactly what was imported. So if you have a client with a large amount of data that comes in from a third-party source, rather than hand typing the data, you can import it using Transaction Pro Importer. So this may be something like a web store, or if they are using a third-party system for inventory management that doesn't sync. Obviously, your first step is find something that actually works for your ecosystem. But every once in a while, we have those unique things. Maybe it's something that's industry-specific, and the data just doesn't integrate perfectly with QuickBooks Online. There is a bridge for that, and it's called Transaction Pro Importer. So let's look at the questions and see if we have questions about this topic. Does QuickBooks Online talk to all data for importing invoices, etc.? I do not know the answer to that question. All data is not a system that I am using. So Michelle, I apologize that I am not sure about that, but if it doesn't, Transaction Pro Importer can probably bridge it. So here we have a support article for that. That must be the Salesforce article that I haven't looked at. Let's see. We have, yeah, perhaps it was just confusing. So I'll look into that, Matthew. I'm interested actually in hearing about that too, since I haven't heard about it yet. But every once in a while there is a verbiage problem that does get confusing, so I guess we'll just have to see what happens with that. So now let's look at Avalara. So if you are in a sales tax state, hopefully you have heard of Avalara. I love it. Avalara, however you want to say it. They're in my state, so I like that. They're located here in Washington, and in Washington we have complex sales tax, but I know that there's some states that are even more complex than Washington, and they have the best sales tax center that I have ever demoed or used. I know that there's some great ones out there, but Avalara has an awesome sync with QuickBooks Online, and I believe it is the only gold certified Intuit developer that calculates both rates and taxability rules. So I believe that they're the only sales tax management system that is a gold certified developer with QuickBooks Online. So it is awesome. They can handle multiple sales tax rates. They can handle multiple states. If you or your client isn't comfortable or doesn't want to manage sales tax, this is the best option. Or if you just don't want to. So many of us are comfortable managing sales tax. We've been doing it forever. We understand the ins and outs, but we don't like it. Or maybe we do. I have some sales tax reports I don't mind doing every month, but if I didn't have to do them, I wouldn't. And that's where Avalara comes in. They are great for multiple sales tax rates and states like Arizona, Washington, California. They provide fully completed returns. Their sales tax calculations are automatically applied to items in the estimate and invoice. They are integrated with GoPayment and the mobile payment solution. Another thing that they manage well are reseller permits. So if you're in a state where some of your taxable items are recorded and reported other ways as being tax-free, whether it's as wholesale or to a reseller, they will manage that for you as well. So their web platform is beautiful. It allows you to have enough controls to manage oversight and make sure that everything's going where you intend it to go. It will flag your reseller permits that are expiring. It just has a lot of great features. So if you haven't demoed with Avalara yet, I definitely recommend checking it out and asking the questions that are applicable for your state and your practice and your client base. Now let's look at SOS Inventory. SOS Inventory offers advanced inventory functionality. They have assemblies, work in process, sales orders, LIFO inventory valuation, low inventory notices, automatic update of inventory counts from QuickBooks Online invoices and sales receipts. SOS Inventory is the preferred inventory management solution for QuickBooks Online at this point in time. They are the top of the App Center for inventory solutions, and for $100 to $200 a month, QuickBooks Online Plus and SOS Inventory is an affordable option for a small business when compared to the $10,000 to $15,000 10-user hosted enterprise with advanced inventory, and you get the same features and functionality, and it's remote, so it really is a beautiful thing. The monthly fee when compared to an annual fee, if you have a client who's kind of looking at the monthly cost thinking that it's not feasible, you really just need to break it out for them for time saving and training and just being able to access it from anywhere, and look at how the monthly price really does even out with the annual price when you're looking at these solutions. So I think that that's one of the barriers that we have when we're looking at add-on solutions, is many of these systems are subscription based, but the things that that clients and us need to realize is we're not updating the system constantly. They're not going to come out with a new release in 6 months that we have to pay another $1,500 for. The software will be released and updated and upgraded as you go, so you're not getting stuck behind. So really it's worth it to just keep moving forward with it, ditch the sunset policy, and just let your business grow and let the software grow along with it. So now we'll look at Mavenlink. I like Mavenlink. It has 3 different levels of subscriptions. They have a free subscription, a Teams subscription, which is their middle platform, and then they have their Platinum subscription. So there are 3 different levels there, and they provide project management and team collaboration. They have email updates. They sync with Google Docs and QuickBooks Online or Desktop. They do budget to actual reporting, which is not available in QuickBooks Online yet, but it's a robust team project and team management program. It's great for scheduling projects, and you can invite clients to participate. So their QuickBooks Online integration is available in their top-level product. Their product is really affordable. They have a lot of different features that go along with it, so really look at the different levels and what features your business might need or your client's business. I've found that this is a great add-on for design firms, people that do web design or marketing and things like that, because they can really keep like a Facebook, it's basically like a Facebook feed for each project where they can correspond with their customers. Messages don't get lost like they do in huge email strands. Everything's just listed out in chronological order. Their customers can share documents with them. They can add pertinent members to the project, whether it's other designers or project managers or the clients. It really is a great program. So I'm going to pause and look at the questions again and see if we're getting behind here. Let me see. It doesn't look like we have any new questions on what we've talked about, so we'll keep moving forward. Now we're going to look at ZenCash. Maybe, if my computer will change the slide. There we go. ZenCash helps you get paid. So there are a handful of AR systems on the market now. ZenCash is one of them. It's an accounts receivable dashboard. So these AR dashboards basically sync up with your QuickBooks Online account, and they pull all of your invoicing information out, or invoicing information for selected clients. So many of these let you choose which clients you want them to manage. So ZenCash in particular has a legal collections system in it. So if you have invoices that are going way overdue, you can send them to collections right from the dashboard. You can send beautifully printed thank you cards. You can opt in for full AR automation, or you can have a la carte services whenever you need a little help. So they have AR specialists who are polite and can handle your reminder calls. They have custom scripts that are approved by you. So it's pretty awesome, these different systems. If you go to the App Center, you can view the different AR systems that they have. So ZenCash is the full deal. They have everything. If you have clients that maybe need a little bit less help, or need, they just need an emailing system or this and that, there are other platforms out there for that. But ZenCash really has the a la carte services, so you can just go in there and do a demo with them. I've demoed with them before. Their team is great. I believe that they were just rolling out some prettier platform features as well, so I'm excited to see what that looks like. They have beautiful graphs and charts. Their dashboards are very easy to read as well. And everything, of course, syncs back with QuickBooks Online. So Reba, does ZenCash auto-apply late fees to invoices? They have everything set up custom, so you can, and I'm not sure if you have the finance charges set up through ZenCash. That's a good question. I have demoed with them before, and I know that we talked about that. I'm just not recalling it right off the top of my head. So I would recommend we'll go to the App Center later in this webinar, and we can see how we can look up information for them and where we can get the contact information for apps. And no, you have not missed the question about the keyword. That will be at the end of the webinar, so thank you for bringing that up as well. Okay, so now we're going to move into T-Sheets. I absolutely love T-Sheets. I use T-Sheets in my own business. It's great. So they provide mobile time tracking and management. They have a seamless data sync into QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online. They have approval reminders and a quick approval process. You can customize the paid time off and the vacation and the sick pay and all of that. You can customize the permissions and access settings as well. So you can set your team up, or your clients can set their teams up for people to manage their teams. So if you have a client with a marketing team and a field team or whatever, you can have the heads of those teams managing their employees underneath them. So instead of having one person that has to approve all of the time, people can have their own teams where they review the time for their team, approve the time for their team. They also there are job costing workarounds with T-Sheets. So they allow you to assign your time by job. There's different tricks that you can use to work around and get your time job costed, which is awesome. And they just really have a wonderful platform. They have the mobile app so you can log in and track your time from the field or when you're out of the office. They also have GPS tracking, which is something that you can add on. So they have various things that you can add on. You can text in to clock in. So depending on your business and what the culture is for that business, there is a way to make it convenient for you to track time, which is awesome. All right, so now we're going to bring it around to the life cycle of the small business, from acquiring customers to getting paid. So if you think about some of the apps we just looked at and how they can enrich the QuickBooks Online experience by sharing data, we look at how there's no more need for re-entering data. Re-entering data creates unnecessary workload and the potential for errors. With the integrated apps, your data flows seamlessly across the applications. The third-party apps must meet strict requirements to be eligible for listing in the Intuit App Center. So for an app to be in the App Center, they go through a vetting process. So they have to be tested and tried and have, X amount of reviews and so many gold stars before Intuit will even put them in the App Center. So there are apps that you can get to integrate with QuickBooks Online, that you can sync up with QuickBooks Online that are not in the App Center. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not good apps, they just haven't been vetted. So when we go in and get an app from the App Center, we know that that's been tested. We don't have to wait for more people to test it. That's already been done. The app is vetted. We can go ahead and sync it up. The Intuit Partner Platform is an open platform that enables the developers to integrate with QuickBooks. They integrate with QuickBooks data using the QBO API, which is the QuickBooks Online Application Programming Interface, which is how the data gets called or how the data moves between the programs. So the Intuit Partner Platform works with the developers. They're a good voice for what we want and need, and they help make sure that that data is going to come into QuickBooks Online in a way that actually works for us. Okay, so now we're going to look at adding an app to your QuickBooks Online subscription. And I'm going to I have to move some stuff around here. We're going to do this demo style. So let's pop open this QuickBooks Online window here. So I'm working in a sample company. So this is accessible from your QuickBooks Online client list. When you click on the gear icon, you can open the sample company. And the App Center is in the same spot in every QuickBooks Online file. It's right over here on the left side navigation bar. We just click on the app button, and this takes us right into the App Store. And they have been refurbishing internet lines in my office this last week, so I apologize for the spinny blue wheel of death. Okay, that's what we call it in my office anyway. You might have your own special nickname for it. But here you can see the App Center. So you can see some of the apps we've talked about today, Transaction Pro Importer, SOS Inventory, and you can see they tell us who is the developer for the software and a little description of what it does. You can see the number of reviews that it has and the star ranking right here. You can also see Billcalm, which we talked about today. You can see different expense management platforms like Concur. There's all of these different things that we can look at in here. So what happens when we want to try an app? I'm going to pick, let's see, who should we pick today? Let's scroll up. I like LivePlan. Let's look at LivePlan. So LivePlan, it tells me, allows me to set financial goals and track business performance on a powerful dashboard. That sounds great. Let's see more about it. So we just click on the link to the app, and it brings up all of this information. Look, it has a video there. Like, I can learn about it here in a minute and 20 seconds. I can read these little excerpts. I can see pricing. So the best thing about the App Center is all of the information is just stated bluntly for us. So we know what the pricing is going to be. So we get a 30-day free trial. We don't have to enter our credit card to sign up. We can see our monthly and our annual plan, how many users it is. So the App Center has given us all of this information at our fingertips. So now instead of spending hours Googling what our need is and clicking around and looking at vendor websites trying to figure out what the best solution is, we just click on the App Center, we get all of the information, and we move on with our lives. You can read reviews. Maybe you'll see a review from someone that you know that you can email personally and ask them about it. The App Center is definitely one of my favorite places to go when I'm trying to fill a need for a client. So again, just click on the Apps tab from the left side navigation bar, and we just check them out in here. Now, if you want to look at this information without being in a client file, again, it's just apps.com, easiest URL to remember for an app, and you can go in here and click around and search by need. You can search by the product. So here we're looking at QuickBooks Online, apps into it. It's just a really awesome place to be. All right, so let me look at the questions here and see if we had any App Center questions. And it doesn't look like we do, so we're going to keep moving forward. So we're going to talk about the Cloud Pro Advisor program. So if you're on the line today and you're not already a QuickBooks Pro Advisor or Cloud Pro Advisor, I definitely recommend checking out the program. So the Cloud Pro Advisor program is free. It gives you access to the QuickBooks Online training programs and the QuickBooks Online certification test. You also get free marketing tools and support, and once you're certified, you get support from the Cloud Pro Advisor line. So that's pretty awesome. You can see the link here. I think we will put that in the chat window also. If you need to sign up to become a Cloud Pro Advisor, it's just this bit.ly Cloud Pro Advisor. Or you can go to proadvisor.intuit.com to get the information on how to sign up for that. So definitely, if you are not an existing Pro Advisor or a Cloud Pro Advisor, get signed up for that. You also get a listing on the Find a Pro Advisor website, which is awesome. So you get higher rankings depending on how many certifications and reviews you have, which is great. We get at least a few calls every month from our Pro Advisor listing. Okay, QuickBooks Connect. Hopefully you have all heard about QuickBooks Connect. I am super excited about it. There are different tracks for accounting professionals, developers, small business owners, and entrepreneurs. So we have Martha Stewart was just announced that she's going to be there. That's a good thing, right? Everybody likes Martha. So maybe we'll get some tips from her empire that she has going on for her. You can see here that we have a discount code if you want to note that and go on and register for the conference. It's in San Jose, and it's from October 21st to 23rd. So for accounting professionals, we have access to some awesome advanced training. So we're going to have advanced QuickBooks desktop training. We're going to have QuickBooks online training. It's just going to be a great thing. So this is a great opportunity to network with developers and vendors and learn about apps like the ones we talked about today. It's also a great opportunity to network with people at Intuit. So this is local to the Intuit home base. So there's going to be more Intuit employees in one place than there probably ever is besides the Intuit campus. So I'm super excited about that. It really gives you access to the QuickBooks team and the QuickBooks online team, as well as your peers and other people that you can bounce information off of. The price of this conference is ridiculously cheap. I know that Southwest Airlines is having sales right now. I booked my flights through there. They have a lot of $69 and $73 flights from many places into San Jose. So there's really no excuse not to go. It's going to be really awesome. They also have the Developer Hackathon, which is going to be cool to see the developers figure out awesome new solutions to give us. I actually get to be a judge for that, so I'm excited about that to see all of these new things that they're going to come up with. So that will be fun. I'm going to look at the questions here really quick. We have one. What do you charge to do a needs assessment for clients who are considering apps but are not sure where to start? Do you charge a flat rate or by the hour? So I will tell you what I do personally, and there's probably a fair amount of people that disagree with me, but I'll tell you my theory on it. If I have a client who comes in, say that they're starting a new business, I would rather have someone come into me right at the beginning and get them started on what they need. And even if they say that they want to do it themselves, I would rather get them set up in the right direction so that later when they mess it up, they come back to me to fix it. So when I do a needs assessment, I give a 1-hour free needs assessment, and that's usually enough time to tell them what they should get. And then when they choose the system, I give them a couple solutions. When they choose their solution, we then will give them a quote for getting it set up and getting them trained. But actually selecting the product, I personally don't charge for in my first 1-hour consultation. And the reason I don't do that, again, is because even if they just take that information and run with it and try to do it themselves, chances are they're going to need help with it in the future, and it's worth it for me to build that relationship so that going forward, when they do grow and they get too busy and they can't deal with it or they mess it up or it gets too hard, they come back to me. So that's my personal way that I do it. I know everyone doesn't agree with that, but that's what I do personally. So let's look at a summary of what we went over today. So upon completion of this course, we should be able to understand how small businesses benefit from integrated apps for improved efficiency. We should be able to identify Intuit's payroll and payment add-ons for QuickBooks Online. And we should be able to list some third-party apps that integrate with QuickBooks Online. We should be able to perform the process of finding and adding apps to a QuickBooks Online account. All right, now it's the fun part, everyone. We're going to enter the CPE keyword. So I'm going to activate this poll. So hopefully you all noted the CPE keyword from the middle of the webinar. And if everyone can just get their keyword in there. And remember, your CPE keyword will be emailed to you within 14 days. And it gets emailed to the email address that you used to register for today's webinar. Now, if you have an email system with a bulk box, like if you have GoDaddy email and you have your spam filtering on and you have a problem receiving your keywords, it's possible that you may need to log into your bulk bin that never makes it to your actual inbox and filter for some messages there. I know that I've found some sitting in there before also. So if you think you're having a problem getting your CPE keywords, check all of your bulk and spam boxes first, and then, of course, if you don't get it after a couple of weeks, you can always contact Donna Intuit to help you get that figured out. All right, so it looks like everyone has, let's see, do we have everyone? Okay, so we still have a couple people that need to enter their keyword. Do I have any experience with late fee manager here in the questions box? So no, I do not have any experience with that, Reba. But if there's something awesome about it, please tell us. And now if anyone has any remaining questions, it is now 10:59, so if anyone has anything left, feel free to ask it now. I'll also put my email address here in the chat box, so if you come up with something later, you have a question about an app that we talked about today or any other sort of workflows or processes that we use, go ahead and contact me. Let me get that in here. You can also check out my blog at www.makeaccountingfun. Typing this in right now, .blogspot.com, and I'll put that here too. So I like to talk about things that have to do with developers and different products and things that are really specific to our industry, and again, I try to keep it fun, obviously. All right, so we are now at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much for participating today. You'll receive an evaluation here within the next 48 hours-ish, and you can also utilize ongoing resources through the ProAdvisor or Cloud ProAdvisor program. And you will receive the recording of this webinar, again, with the wrap-up within 48 hours. So thank you all for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.